All right, everybody. Welcome back. Today is Thursday, the 29th of July, 2021. SPY, another 0.41% update today. Rinse and repeat, same old, same old. Just continuing this crazy uptrend in this crazy market. We are higher than a kite, to say the least. So, some market internals on the day. Around the horn, NASDAQ total dollar volume of 178 billion today. NYSE 209 billion, and the OTC markets a little bit of a down day, 2.3 billion total dollar volume. Two main short trades for me today ended up profitable, but one really a loser that shoulda, coulda, woulda been a winner, and the other one just awesome A+ setup. So first one was COCP. Got up early around the 7 o'clock Eastern time frame, looking for maybe a 4 o'clock play, maybe a 4:30 news release, and looking to short that dump there at this point. Got really nothing, and there was barely any other movers to just watch to keep my attention. So it was kind of a slower morning, trying to keep myself focused on watching red and green flashing lights. But I was so locked on around the 8 o'clock time frame, and as soon as 5 o'clock rolled around, or 8 o'clock rolled around, COCP pops up on the scanner. COCP pops up on the scanner. They had news of COVID, the Delta virus, Delta variant news, broad spectrum activity against the Delta variant and Gamma variants, whatever. Fundamental on this one, I fell in love with. Float of 66 million, reported short interest up 2%, but they do have a decent amount of overhead as well, even on the daily itself, coming from these big volume spike days and even further back. Just a little bit of, if you want to call them back holders over that long of a time period, looking to liquidate into, if they miss this day, looking for any amount of peak to sell into. Certainly today would be the day, but golly. So watch this one hard for the fall off, saw the VWAP crack, and was ready and willing to pull the trigger when it was confirmed that the trend was in. And of course I kind of get in, and it's still just edgy of, this thing could have gone back against me and broke that high to make a new high a day. But lucky enough that this green candle was just a bit of a tumultuous still trend finding at this point. Going back to the trend of how, seeing two red candles at this point is a good sign that, hey, you're going to get some amount of selling that's going to start eventually changing this quick uptrend to a good amount of selling on the downside, which I'm never going to oppose taking an entry at that point. But anyway, I got a 136 fill of like 1,500 shares. We started off pretty awesome, just continuing to smack the bid and just chip and chip and chip away. And these three red candles, I was thinking money in the bag. This is going to be an awesome quick trend play. Had an order in at 10%, which was 122, to take off half of my shares, which is how I always consistently play this pattern. We bounced quick at 1.2. It was really 129 that it was a consistent, you could easily see it on the level 2, and even this volume candle, a million volume candle in the pre-market here of a dip. And I was thinking to myself, man, am I stupid not following the crowd and covering at least a little bit here in this dip? Because I just always keep my 100% focus on, hey, stick to the pattern, look for that 10%, and look for holding a smaller size of your position even beyond that for the rest of the play. But this one too, these are the ones that just constantly make me challenge the algorithm, the pattern that I try to set up in place for these types of setups, which is a good thing. I think I should always be challenging what I think or what I know to be true in every aspect of life, and especially in the stock market too. There is nothing that is 100% foolproof or win-proof. So in the same thing with this, I just look at this whole chart today and go, it didn't break my trade parameters that I normally use for this trade of risking that high of day. But even just the emotional expense that I still feel and still trick myself into believing of, man, that's a wide risk level of 136 all the way to 152. And it's just going to, if it goes all the way that high, I'm going to have to take a good amount of slippage with some other people risking that same thing. So I think I traded this well in the pre-market to now adjust my trade plan going forward to say, if I see this type of pattern again, and I don't like to be watching the level 2 and time and sales with these, but I always have to, and I always really have to be conscious of those in the corner of my eye. So it just became, looking at this on the pre-market, just how slow and just like Chinese water torture pain of the levels that we were printing here are 139, totally blocky prints, the same thing that I saw yesterday on INFI. It was just the same prints of green at the same exact time frame and the same price of 139, and then it'd be red, and then just go off. We continue to hit 139, and that became a huge level. They were able to hide it well on the volume chart, but then it was just like when it was selling was coming, and they knew 139 wasn't going to be broken at that point. Then it just kind of came out here that the week longs were dumping, and they weren't able to hide their size well as the price was falling back under VWAP at that point. So then there again, okay, I'm seeing strength. I'm not panicking out at all whatsoever. And 1.3 comes back into play, and we're still holding. So then this is what I was talking about, of the mentality that I may look to take in the future with these patterns if they're just holding well in the pre-market and not dumping anywhere close to 10%, because this is still a huge way from a 10% opportunity. And I'm looking for 10, 20, 30% opportunities on these plays, even if that means like the next ticker I'll show after dumping far below the previous trading day's close. But I think I did the right thing, in what I should have done was take off like half of my size, take off 750 shares at 1.3, just to say, okay, you're locking in a little bit of profit, but you're also heavily decreasing your risk for this trade if you still want to keep the same trade parameter of that high of day. So that's not a downsizing a loser, because I think that's just totally an inappropriate trade thesis, that if you're in the negative, your position says your emphasis on whether or not you think the stock is going to go in your favor or not. But in this situation, this one just becomes, okay, now it's just getting the pattern that I'm really looking for didn't really happen, but I'm also not denying that it could do what it did today and just fade more. But I don't want to have to be so emotionally involved with it, and I can seriously shut off this screen, just keep it in the corner of my eye, and not pay so much attention to the emotional level 2 time and sales and play all these games in the morning action, and can just let it do what it's going to do, and that's fade like the stupid ticker it is. So kind of randomly, not really randomly, but as we were developing this type of price action, these highs around here, a little bit of dump out of the open, then quick reclaim back above VWAP, back above this 139 level, and then again a sharp reject back under VWAP, to which I was thinking, okay, that this should be the dump. If it went above VWAP and then quickly rejected back under, if this thing is going to fade and go hard down the rest of the day, it's got to stay. Oh, sorry about that. So it was just, the thesis was, okay, if this is the move and it's dumping hard back under VWAP, if this thing reclaims and starts testing this high again, then the trend is definitely broken. So now the entire mentality becomes, okay, now I'm just looking, as it comes back above VWAP, now I'm really just looking to protect against my downside of, is this thing going to spike against new high a day? Is it just going to go crazy the rest of the day? And of course, price action doesn't actually break the high a day. It actually has a nice little double top, if you want to call it that, and ends up fading hard and closing lower than what I took that initial little percentage off there in the pre-market at. And I feel like this is what I just continue to do over and over again with these, and I just paper cut myself of, this one ends up being a loss for $100 and the $24 of commissions I paid for it. But in reality, if I was taking off half of my position when I see that it's holding key levels, and it's not, I shouldn't say it's holding levels, but at least it's not just breaking down hard like I wanted to see immediately after this big spike, then just taking off half of my position here, that's still the same profit loss opportunity if I'm risking that high of day, giving it the optimum room to breathe and do this if it wants to and get everybody else out, and I could just sit back and play the non-degenerate degenerate game with it that way. So it's just continual refinement. It's taken me starting this whole strategy in May and just tracking it for first off, and then April really hammering down and actually starting to trade it and understand what I'm actually trading with this pattern. But then just going through the actual dirt and getting the dirt on your fingernails of the minute details of this specific trade. I love the process, and I love to see that the opportunity is there. And this one wasn't the biggest dollar volume mover today, $200 million volume, which is pretty nice. But the fact that I'm still trading this poorly, but even though I traded it poorly, the profit opportunity is still there. That kind of excites me. I don't know. It's just a different way to look at it. So I was kind of on the long side, or excuse me, I want to be on the side of the big people, the people who have the most influence on the sticker. Gosh, sore throat is not the best time to be doing a video. But anyway, to wrap this one up quick, just a little information. There was only 25,000 trades before market open, over $28 million volume by market open as well too. So big amount of attention and interest on it. This is where we can relate it back to the blocky prints that were going off. Chris was also in on this for the long side, and I could totally be right there alongside with him of seeing everything he was seeing of the levels that were holding, the people that were in it, and it certainly could have broke that 1.5 barrier, spanked even more crazy to the upside, but that just wasn't in the cards today. So kind of handled it a little inappropriately for what I was looking for initially. Not that it was emotionally wrong, but I think just having a better strategy or a more well-rounded strategy going forward is going to be the key to nailing these setups and taking winners out of what should be losers according to the market makers. But yeah. All right, then PALI was the next one. This one came up around the same time frame, a little bit after COCP, which is why I was able to pull up the chart and actually get shares of short. Great opportunity, A++ on this one. Fundamentals for it. To pull up those quick. This one had news of positive top line, efficacy results from phase 2 study for bowel functions, gastrointestinal surgeries, whatever. It's American biotech, which we're looking for. Lower float of 5.6 mil. I don't see any reported short interest. Decent little daily, not insane amount of history, but still in a downtrend. I was able to get 400 shares short at 4.2, I think. A little bit late, but I'm fine with as well too in this downtrend. But I think it's still risky to say trying to get short here in this red candle, as it's still a little bit peaky for that VWAP in this candle, that it's maybe could have had some more legs to test that high of day. But that was certainly the entry there with that second downtrend, breaking the low of this previous candle as well too. Kind of choppy, still indecisive of where it wanted to go hard the rest of the pre-market. And then we just slowly started chipping away. VWAP became a huge resistance level. That was great to see, twice over here especially. But then $4, the whole level, a round number of 4, just became this magnet. Hovered around there, broke it a few times, but then just continually chopped around there. VWAP wasn't really doing anything. The total dollar volume today on this one, 28 million. Not an insane attraction, which is another tick for the A+ checkup. That's what I want to be in. Don't want to be manipulated so hard by so much big money in these types of tickers, similar to COCP. And then another prop, or another check in the box for limit orders, having limit orders in way early, because I had a limit order for 10% at 3.8. And as soon as the market opened, we were trading around 3.9, and then I got filled at 3.8, and we're back to 3.9. It was like you couldn't have pushed the button quick enough. After have seen the signal from your brain to tell your finger to push the button, it was just that quick. So 100% another check in the box to have your orders in pretty much from the get-go once the trend is confirmed to the downside. So I was able to take off 200 shares at that point, and then 200 remaining shares kind of just randomly. Here again, VWAP, perfect reject off of, and then just continued the downtrend. I picked 3.5 as a random number, figured it could go that low. Maybe we bounced around. That was around the trading close of yesterday. Wasn't looking to try and pick the bottom on this one. But here I am again and trying to be perfect with these plays. Man, if we get this type of price action on this one, you can be kind of degenerate with your holding of these remaining half of shares, especially after having locked in 10%. Another awesome VWAP reject. This thing certainly had the opportunity and potential to just continue to keep cracking. We came all the way down below 3 in the afternoon trading session. So, God, just awesome. I think I'm going to end it there. After, I'm going to go like cry in the shower, just try to drain this sore throat out of me. But those are my 2 trades today. A few other ones that could have been awesome. VXRT, I'll go with a quick. Just kind of perfect, beautiful triple top, if you want to call it that. And then huge downside opportunity to play the whole day on that one. But that's all I had today. Again, trading really done by 10:30 Eastern time, and just really not even looking at the market again until close. I think especially, I'm not going to try to play. I don't see any movers holding up in the afternoon trading hours, and that's not really my forte trading style anyway. So until we get big movers once again that start producing incredible profit potential, then I'll have to start checking back in again around that time frame. But for now, I'm totally fine getting up early and taking my naps an hour after the market open, just fine with me. So thank you guys for watching. Sorry for the sickness and craziness and choppiness of it, but we'll see you guys tomorrow.